Hey everyone, Doug with Theme Park DNA. Today I'm going to be reviewing my Saberforge Eris. I previously bought this as an empty, and right now it has a champion setup in it with a Golden Harvest V3 and a Cyan LED. So that is the ominous sound font. And right now I have a Saberforge Infinity V4 blade in here. So let's start with some numbers. All right, almost exactly 12 inches. Oh, I'm sorry. It's about 11 and 3/4. Just shy of 12 inches. So pretty nice size there. All right, well, the batteries in my calipers are just barely working, so let's see if we can get some measurements on this. The widest part is going to be the Suba. It's going to be just short of 2.1 inches, 2.0975 inches, and in millimeters, it's going to be 53.28 millimeters. Then kind of the standard width of most of the rest of it, 1.375 inches or 34.94 millimeters. So, and then we have the thinnest part, which is going to be in this grip section in between the grenades sections, 3.1. Looks like 31.75 millimeters, which is 1.250 inches. Let's take a look at the weight. All right, now this is with a Saberforge Infinity V4 blade, which is a little heavier, and we are coming in at 1 pound 7.5 ounces. Which is also 23.5 ounces and 666 grams. Without a blade, 14.3 ounces, which is 404 grams. All right, for the rest of the video, I'm gonna have a Ultra Sabers mid-grade Ultra Edge with a 24-inch blade on here just for ease of manipulation. All right, so I really like this saber. So this is a Kanan Jarrus inspired hilt, and I think they did a really good job with it. They have another one. This is in the Apprentice line, which is one down from Elite, and then there's an Elite saber that's very similar, but it does have its differences. That is called the Eris. So this is Eris, E-R-I-S, and the Eris is A-R-E-S. And I would like to have both of them side by side to compare, but I don't at the moment. But I really like this saber. I think as a $75 empty, it's tough to go wrong with this. I got this in a weathered finish. It looks really nice. So down at the bottom, we have a good pommel. It sounds good. We've got a large sound vent in the bottom, and then smaller oval sound vents changing directions, horizontal and vertical down to the bottom. Looks really nice, kind of as a little bit of a foil for the Suba here, the way it's kind of rounds off at the bottom. We do have a CoverTech wheel, and I have learned from experience that even though it doesn't look quite as cool, I prefer this CoverTech wheel. Let me give you an example. Here on my Talon, I have this CoverTech wheel, and I just think it looks cool, but it's got little sharp edges on it, and it catches on everything, including my forearm. So for that reason, in the future, I will be ordering the rounded design CoverTech wheels. Much more comfortable and easier to get in and out of the CoverTech holster also. So moving up, we have this large like pineapple grip section. It looks kind of like the World War II pineapple grenades, where it has these large squares, and of course it's not weathered in the small parts where it's black, and I think it's a nice contrast where you have black and silver, and then in some places you're heavier on the silver on the high wear surfaces. So it turned out really good. I like it a lot. Moving up to the switch section, you of course got the double hole for the recharge port and the AV switch, and you've got these vertical ovals here in the switch section which look really nice, and they match these vertical oval sections in the pommel. However, I wish they would have moved these up here, and I'll tell you why in a second. Moving up to just below the emitter, we've got this kind of upper grip section right underneath the Suba. This is my favorite place to grasp it from, especially one-handed. This saber gives you just enough room, at least for my hands, which are just about 4 inches wide, and I wear large gloves usually. There is just enough room here between the top of the Suba and the top of the CoverTech wheel for me to fit both hands in here, and I can activate the switch with either my, I prefer the ring finger, but the pinky wants to, but it's a little bit of a stretch upwards for it. So when I hold it one-handed, I like to grip it right here, and my thumb usually activates the AV. And so that moves me into why I said I would have preferred these ovals to be moved up. Is because this is really, really comfortable. But once you start rotating and making quick changes in direction, there's not a lot to grab onto here. There are 2 inset circles right here. They look nice, but I mean, my fingers just don't grasp right there. So in order to have my finger close to the AV switch, I pretty much need to grasp it here. And it slides around a little bit in my hand because it's so smooth. These little rings don't really give me much help. So it does try to slide out of my hand during quick one-handed movements from here and using rotations. Now with two-handed, it's not nearly a problem because you've got a good grip down here in this grenade section that you can kind of orient your hand and keep it in one place. You've got some tactile reference here with the CoverTech wheel. So it's not nearly as difficult, but rotating and spinning with one hand up here, it kind of slides around and makes it difficult to find that AV switch, which is another thing. These are tiny little things because this is a great saber. I really, really do like it. But I just want to give you my honest opinion after using it a little bit. The switches here are pretty much even. There's barely a little bump here where the AV switch is. So that's why having a reference point up here would help me out, because sometimes it's hard to find the AV switch because it's hard to feel the AV switch sometimes. Sometimes it just feels like one of these ovals. You're like, oh no, that's because you're doing it with this hand. So moving on up from the Suba, as we covered earlier, is not very large. It doesn't get in the way at all. I have reviewed other Canon Eris style sabers before, or just sabers with Subas, and they can be, the larger Subas are great for hand protection, but not so much for rotations. So there's 2 things that make this really, it's a non-issue. Number 1, it's just barely like 2.5 inches wide, and number 2, you had this chamfer on the bottom that kind of gives you a nice rounded slope. Had that been a nice flat surface on the bottom like it is on the top, your hand wants to go right up against it, and then rotating it, your thumbs and your fingers tend to kind of get, particularly my thumb gets in the way, and it's not nearly as fast. And you can barely notice there's a Suba here when you're spinning it. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference, but I like the tactile reference to have my hand up here, and I mean, it's not going to offer much protection because my knuckles are way past the Suba, but I do like the aesthetic of it. So moving on up, similar to Canon Eris's lightsaber in Star Wars Rebels, we have kind of a double emitter design here where you have a cylinder where the blade sits in, and then there's a guard on the back side that sits on the outside. And I like the design of it. They did different than some of the other designs where we start low here and it comes on up, and then it widens out just a bit, and then we kind of have a little bit of a where it's rounded off here. Super comfortable. There's no sharp points here at all. The only thing that would even be kind of close is up here, and it's not an issue. First of all, your hand's not going to be there, and even if it were by accident, the only thing that's in danger of catching is another blade. I guess it's possible if you hit there with enough force enough times that you could dent or puncture your opponent's blade. Other than that, great design, nice aesthetics, very comfortable, feels good. My issues with this saber are very, very small and would not keep me from buying it again in any means. So electronics, this is Champion setup for the Golden Harvest V3. So it's got
ominous
25 sound fonts built into it, the Golden Harvest sound fonts. That was weird. So, of course, we have blaster block, flash on clash, I really do like the cyan color on here. It's mostly light blue, but it's got just a hint of green in it. And I don't know how well that shows up, but I am going to be doing some comparisons with greens and blues, and I'm going to include the cyan in both of them, where the cyan is on kind of the low end of the green where it just barely has any green in it, and actually it's going to be on the opposite end of the blue because it's a little less blue, and it does have just a little bit of green in it. Not very much, but enough to be a really interesting color. I really do like it. And it does look real similar to that, the color on the Fallen Order saber. So this is one of our giveaway videos, and all you have to do to win one of our now 14 prizes is to subscribe, make sure your subscriptions are set to public, and like and comment on this video. And we have 14 more prizes. We have 2 more ornaments, we have 9 blade plugs, we have 1 control box kill key, and we have 2 lightsabers that we're giving away. I'm really, really excited, and I really want to give this stuff to you guys. So in order to make that happen, you got to subscribe, like, and comment on these videos. And the faster we get that done, the faster I can get you some stuff. So let me know what you think. I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below. If you like this content, let us know with a big thumbs up. That's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching.